All right, welcome back to Dynasty Football Maniacs. And by God, I almost forgot our name. So there we go. Starting off great. So today we're just going to talk just solely on wide receivers, how they're tiered out commonly, what you see, and do they deserve that spot? I'm going to start with the tier one spot first, and we're going to break that down and go from me and Austin's opinion of who should still be in there and who shouldn't. Tier one, currently, you have in a PPR league, you have CD Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Amon St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. Now, any other time, I wouldn't really disagree. I mean, and I don't know if I totally disagree now. There's a lot of thought behind this. Now, I know not every wide receiver is going to have a great season every season. So we know Justin Jefferson had an injury. And then plus Kirk Cousins was out. Yeah, he didn't finish in the top 10. I think he finished what, 35? Or
Or
no,
Justin
33.
Jefferson.
He just for fantasy points at PPR last year, he's finished overall ranking, he's 5. Now, normally Justin Jefferson is always ranked in the top 5 just with fantasy points. That's hence why he's always in the tier. And that's why, I mean, normally when a wide receiver is that high multiple years, it's hard to take him out of that tier because he had one bad season, one off season. I mean, he wasn't out a whole season, but it was enough to impact what he normally did. Jamal Chase, I look at him differently because every year it's a slow start, and a lot of that is Joe Burrow. And every year he's always short, but on paper, this guy should always be beyond Justin Jefferson. But he never does it. He never floors past that point. He never gets ahead of that guy. Last year he did, but that's because he wasn't out that long and he placed 11. I think if
I,
Justin Jefferson played, it would probably be a high potential that he would have probably been in the top 10, but I'm wondering if
I
this is his turn.
I think this year Jamar Chase is over Justin Jefferson.
You think it'll be
I
over
think
again?
I think I think this year Jamar Chase is gonna be over Justin Jefferson. I mean, because you got a better, in my opinion, right now we don't know the whole situation with the Vikings because they're gonna start. They say they're gonna start Sam Darnold, and I don't really see Sam Darnold doing that much in my opinion, but Jamar Chase is out of Joe Burrow. As long as Joe Burrow stays healthy and that offense gets cooking, um, it's a really high possibility chance of Jamar Chase finally just supplementing himself over Justin Jefferson, unless Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy can support Justin Jefferson the way that Kirk Cousins did. But that's the time that we'll have to see. But I just don't really see it right now.
Yeah, and he only suffered, I mean, hamstring injury is big anyways, but it's not that big. It's not Achilles, it's not a foot injury. Foot
Right.
injuries are scary ones. That's what happened to Michael Thomas. That's what happened to Deion Sanders. Them guys had foot injuries. It was a different kind of injury. Uh, he was out a long time. I mean, week 5 is when he suffered the injury against the Chiefs, and he was subsequently placed on IR, returned to play week 14. So yeah, he missed a lot of games. I mean, that's a big chunk of your season, and that for him to still finish in the top 35, that's pretty good. I mean, I feel like the situation now in Minnesota is different, just like you did. I mean, I feel like the quarterback situation's different. And it could prove us all wrong. I mean, JJ McCarthy might come out there and ball, and it'd be a whole different. I don't think it's going to be Sam Arnold. I'm sorry, I can't swallow that. Uh, and maybe I'm wrong, but that I guess in all reality, I guess right now that's where they belong. I don't think anybody else belongs there. I feel like they shafted DJ Moore, a guy that finished 6th last year in wide receiver, but then technically that's the only year he's ever done that. And the only reason they've
Yeah.
done that year is because they finally got Justin Fields to quit focusing on the run. Hence, he wasn't number 7 in the running back core anymore. So the next year he didn't place as high in the running back, but he didn't even improve in his quarterback. So there you go. There's the Justin Jefferson. I mean, not Justin Jefferson, but the Justin Fields issue. So I mean, it's all fair. The top five tier, I'm good with that. I'm good with CD Lamb, Tyreek Hill, St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase
Well,
in tier one right now.
in all honesty, in dynasty perspectives, I would have to put Tyreek Hill on a different tier, just due to the fact that Tyreek Hill has came out and said before that once his contract ends with the Dolphins, he was gonna be done. So, that's only like a couple more years left, which in those couple of years, you're still gonna get top 10 greatness from Tyreek Hill. But just with that landscape of looking at all the other receivers, I'd have to put him a little bit lower in dynasty perspectives. But I
And you,
mean,
yeah, so that's where I made a mistake. I had the tiers up in for redraft, but in dynasty, yeah, Tyreek Hill drops down to 10.
oh well, if we're talking about redraft, then yeah, I can see him Tyreek definitely being in tier one. But
Hey,
when it comes to dynasty, I would have to put him either around tier two or tier three.
tier one has four players. You got CD Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Brown. I think, and the
I'm
age
good
is
with that.
all, yeah, because CD Lamb and Justin Jefferson is your oldest two. They're 25. Jamar Chase is 24 and Brown's 24. I mean, that's
Yeah, but here's the thing with CD Lamb though, it's all about how long he holds out. If he stays at that tier one level. Because if he plays, they give him a contract or he just says, you know what, I'm gonna prove y'all that I'm gonna need a lot of money more than I already am worth. I'm gonna go out there and play, then yeah, I can definitely see him being in that spot. But it all depends on if he actually plays or if he sticks true to his word and holds out until he actually gets a deal done.
so I've seen it both ways now. I've seen the tiering add another player in draft for Dynasty. I've seen Marvin Harris in the tier one. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of not, I'm more tier two too, because I think he has to prove himself. I think he's top of the tier two right now until the season progresses. Uh, in the tier two, I would put Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown. I think Tyreek Hill should be in the tier two. I don't think Tyreek Hill should be all the way to third, just in my opinion, but that's just
I,
me.
well, I'll give you one that's just a me type of ordeal. From what I can see, in all honesty, AJ Brown's just been so dominant, consistent over Garrett Wilson. And, we haven't even seen Marvin Harrison take a snap. So, in all honesty, I would put AJ Brown over Garrett Wilson or Marvin Harrison, but I'll see why. Because AJ Brown is 27 years old, and, Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison are younger. I can see it, but, you're still going to get some get good years from AJ Brown because typically, if they're an elite wide receiver, they don't normally fall off until when they get like around 30. But I would put AJ Brown like right at 5 where they have Marvin Harrison, but I still put Marvin Harrison right there because right now, Garrett Wilson, right now, everyone is just hoping that Aaron Rodgers is what Aaron Rodgers was 2 years ago before he had that Achilles injury. They got, and I can understand, not taking anything from Garrett Wilson because he's an amazing talent. Don't get me wrong on that, but, to be an amazing talent, you got to have at least a competent or a really good quarterback, in my opinion, because we saw the whole circus act when Aaron Rodgers got hurt last year, and it it hurt. It hurt a lot of people who had Garrett Wilson. So right now, that's how I would change it up a little bit like that. But I mean, Marvin Harrison could easily jump over AJ Brown, in my opinion, too, because he's I don't care what people say. Kyler Murray is actually a pretty good quarterback. I don't care what people say. I mean, Marvin Harrison could be playing with a lot worse quarterback. He could have a day. He could have like the Raiders situation, or you could have a Steelers situation. I'd rather have Kyler Murray over them two situations. I mean, that's just my opinion.
So, do you think Puka Nuka should be in a tier 2 spot? I think with him being his rookie year, having his bang out year, it was great. But in all reality, let's look at his year of we call greatness. Um,
I think he broke
yes,
some rookie records.
yeah, he was ranked number fourth. With him being number four, there was several wide receivers right on his heel by a few points to pass him. And let me name the wide receivers I'm talking about. AJ Brown. He scored 298. AJ Brown had 289. DJ Moore scored 286. Puka Nuka had 298. And then the other one right behind him was Mike Evans. Yeah, the ones I'm saying are a lot older than Puka Nuka, but I'm saying that wide receivers, the odds of a wide receiver coming out and doing that well, I mean, it's not that 2 seasons in a row is not that great. Now, with the exception, because he wasn't rated to come out like that, and it's not saying he's not going to be that guy, but I look at the Rams situation. I've never seen a Los Angeles Ram wide receiver repeat. It's I think it's just you see Cooper Cup up there, you see other wide receivers in the group up there. Los Angeles Rams always have a wide receiver, but it's never the same leading it. So I wonder if that's not going to change. I mean, I just historically you would not see that change.
I don't think he's going to repeat what he did last year.
I don't think
But
he either.
I also believe that he's still going to have a pretty. I mean, he's going to have a good year. I'm not going to say he's going to have same year he had last year.
So this is
Um, Go ahead.
so this is where I'm at. I look at this and I look at the age, and I know how young he is. He's what 20. Oh, he's young, ain't he? He's 23. Okay, so
Mhm.
I look at him at number four.
You also got to realize Cooper Cup was hurt most of the year too.
Yeah, he was hurt last year too. It's a common thing with Cooper Cup. Uh, the year he did really successful, he wasn't hurt. So if he comes back healthy, he could take the room back over and knock Puka out of the way. I guess with his age being so young in Dynasty, it would be kind of hard to not let him stay in a tier 2 spot. But I would put
I
him tier 3. I
I
would put
would
him in top tier 3.
I would switch Tyreek Hill for Puka Nakua is.
See, now I thought
Eh,
about that a couple times.
But I believe in Puka Nakua just a little bit more than Malik Neighbors, not because of the talent wise, but I like the Rams quarterback situation a lot better than I do the Giants situation. Yeah, I know Matthew Stafford is older than Daniel Jones down at New York, but I believe in Matthew Stafford way more than I do Daniel Jones. I mean, obviously Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl. Daniel Jones has just always stayed hurt constantly. But yeah, Puka Nakua is not going to finish in the top four. I can still see him finishing in like around 12 and 11, and that's if you know Cooper Cup actually stays. I'm not gonna say stay hurt, but kind of did what he did last year, just stayed hurt most of the time. Because if Cooper Cup's healthy, I could see Cooper Cup, eating on a lot of it into the targets of Puka Nakua. So, but that's just my opinions.
No, I'm actually in agreement. So I would move Puka Nuka down to tier 3, and I would rank him 11. And I would have Malik Neighbors right behind him. And the only reason I would put Malik Neighbors right behind him is he has that talent potential, even with the quarterback they're going to have at the Giants, of being successful. Now, I believe that, but it's kind of hard to put him above Chris Olave and Jalen Waddle. But in a way, I feel like I need to. because I think there's a high potential that he will do well. So I'm fine with leaving him at number 12. Well, let me see if I got this right here. So let me do this right here real quick. Make sure we're on the same page here as we're tearing this out. I would move Tyreek from 10 to 8. I would put Tyreek Hill into tier 2, even for Dynasty at 30. I think just his ability, his strengths, I think you see another 2 or 3 years or more out of him. He's not like your typical wide receiver that gives out at 30. He's never shown a big sign of injuries. He's always been extraordinary. He's a very fast runner, still one of the fastest runners in the NFL. I just think another 2, 3 years, he's good. For a dynasty league, that's perfect. Um, Puka, I put him number 9. Malik Neighbors, I would give him 10. And I would go ahead and settle with Chris Olave and Jalen Waddle at 11 and 12. But you have a pretty full room already. And really, honestly, the rest of the room that they typical average dynasty would have. I mean, I believe Drake London should be up there. Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman definitely in a tier 3, and a Roma Tuesday tier 3 at the bottom. I don't know about Rome Tuesday. Let me step back. Let me take Roma Tuesday out of that, because honestly, you got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore on the wide receivers. Why would you put him in a tier 3 situation? Because in reality, we all knew JSN was never going to get the numbers from Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. It's just that wide receiver core is that good. But JSN is still enough to be recognized, knowing that he is the future of the team. So one of them other guys, they're both in their 30s or close to their 30s. I think Decaf is what, 28, 27. I mean, they're getting closer to the end of their careers, and he most likely replaced Tyler Lockett.
DK is 26.
Yeah, 26. And Tyler Lockett is what, 30?
Yeah, he is 30.
So I think he has a better chance of maybe sooner or later getting that spot. But I don't see a Rome Tuesday finishing in the top 25, no matter how I roll the dice. I don't see it. So why would you tier him with all these other players in a 3? And then I'm no offense to Rome Tuesday. It's a situation he's put in. I see him more as a tier 4, tier 5. It's just my opinion.
Well, they just got him. They got him one spot tiered ahead of DJ Moore, and they're on the same team.
Yeah, but they have him ranked 17. They believe he's going to rank in that top, and I don't think he'll rank in the top 20. I don't see him.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I know,
because
but
they don't even have. They're not even guarding Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen is a target hog too.
I know.
But anyways, before we keep going with this topic that you're talking about, I really, really wanted to throw you a keep trade cut before I forget about this.
All right, go ahead, do it. I'm ready.
All right, so the 3 players I'm giving you is Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, or Puka Nakua.
I'll be honest. I would cut Malik Neighbors. I would trade Puka Nuka because he has a lot of value, and I would keep Tyreek Hill.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. The talent is, I mean, when has he not finished out of the top 5 is the question I want to know. I mean, I know he has, but I mean, it's not, I mean, he's just that dominant of a player. I mean, he was good with Kansas City. He was good with Miami. It didn't matter where he went.
Okay. Well, there's only been 2 years where he was not in the top 10. And that was his rookie year where he finished as 19. And in 2019 where he finished 31st, but that was the year he also was hurt. But any other time he was in the top 10, which is just crazy.
I know. And if you watched him play last year, the guy ain't lost a step. Until something major happens, and knock on wood, I hope that never happens to the guy, because I like to watch his speed. I like to watch what he does to people on the field. When you watch him take off and get the ball in a short distance and he throws out an extra 20 yards, you're like, whoa, how did that come about? So I think,
Right.
and that's why sometimes it's even hard for me to say in Dynasty to leave him out of tier 1. So it's like, but I get it. Dynasty, you're looking for longevity, but
So he's got, including this year, he's got 3 years left on his contract.
yeah, I know.
So you at least have 3 years of him being super good.
Right.
Now, at this very last year of his deal, they could cut him and save some money if they wanted to. But unless he has a really, he has a drop off or something, and you can see his age, I don't think they will. But anyways, back to your Roman Doomsday topic. Yeah, yeah, that's very bold of them putting him right there because I would have. In all honesty, I wouldn't even have Doomsday at the tier 4 spot.
No, I'll tell you where I'd put him. I put him right behind Rashi Rice. Now I know Rashi Rice is going to suffer this year because we know something's going to have to happen for what he done. I mean, you just don't get away with what he done. Uh, if he does, wow. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to see him on some game suspension. How many? I don't know. If it's going to be the whole season, I don't know. But in reality, if Rashi Rice plays, Patrick Mahomes and him connected, and he was a good wide receiver. And I think JSN is going to still do what he did last year. He's going to still be decent. And George Pickens, I'm like, I don't know why he's in a tier 4 either. I'm kind of like torn apart by that whole thought. But
Well, that's just because he's leading the wide receiver room at the moment.
at the moment, but if I was me, and if you agree, I would throw him down to a tier 5. I would put him with Rashi Rice, Xavier Worthy, Jaden Reed. I'm just so surprised Devontae Adams is so far down, but I understand Mike Evans and Devontae Adams are on their last, whatever you want to call it, but
Well,
they still ain't lost
also,
a step.
the quarterback situation isn't the greatest there either.
No, that's true too. Mike Evans has a better quarterback situation than
I could, I would probably put him right there, but if Rasheed Ross, uh, in all honesty, if he just gets slapped with a 4 year or 4 game suspension or 6 game suspension, I still have him in tier 5 because after he gets through the suspension, I mean, then he's going to be playing. You know, like you said, Patrick Mahomes and him had a connection later on in the year and stuff. So I still keep him at 5 for now, but Roman Doomsday is more like he would have to really, really just come out and just show something great in order to even think about competing to jump over Keenan Allen or DJ Moore. I could see him. The only way I could see him jumping over Keenan Allen first was because if Keenan Allen has injuries or something, because he's has had in the past where he stayed out a pretty good bit because of injuries. But tearing him that high, I just doesn't really make sense to me. But some people see something different than I normally see, so it's just my opinion on it.
right. So I believe we should take him down to 5. But what shocks me the most is you got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs. All like Stephon Diggs is in tier 5. They got Nico Collins and Tank Dell in tier 4. We're talking about the Houston wide receiver room. Okay, so we'll try to wrap my head around this. Last year, points wise, Nico Collins was ranked 12th. Right behind him, a little ways down, Tank Dell was ranked, would have been 39 for just, I'm talking PPR, total fantasy points.
He would if he only didn't get hurt.
That's what I'm saying. He got hurt. So, I mean, I'm fine with leaving one of the wide receivers out of the tier 3, but I'm not fine with leaving all 3 of them out of the tier 3. Because at the end of the day, CJ Stroud is going to pass to a wide receiver. One of them wide receivers are going to be in the top 20 or better. The question is which one? So if I was a betting man, which I am, I should have been upfront with that. So I would say Nico Collins has a better shot of being in the top 10. I honestly believe that the Houston team will have two in the top 25 wide receivers. So,
Hmm.
and I don't know which one it would be. I don't know if Tank Dell is going to ease that out with no injuries this year, or is it going to be Stephon Diggs? You know, Stephon Diggs is going to do well. I mean, he does decent, but he has his issues. But I guess last year he didn't do too hot. Let's see, where did he end up last year?
Oh, he did good until the end of the year. The end of the year is when they Bills had to go a different route.
Yeah, they had that little disagreement. Well, actually, it looks like he finished behind.
He finished number 9 in PPR format.
Oh, yep, I passed him. So he finished just a little bit above Nico Collins. So really, that tells me who the top 25 wide receivers are going to be. Is either going to be Stephon Diggs. I just like, if you watch Collins played and you watch Stephon Diggs play, I'd be more on Nico Collins than I would be on Stephon Diggs. But that, I'm going to leave that decision up to you. So if you feel like we could put Nico Collins in a tier 4, in a tier 3, or do we leave him at a tier 4? I'm fine if we put one at 3 and left one in a 4 and one in a 5. I'm good with that. But at the end of the day, you can't leave out one of the Houston wide receiver group out of the top
Look,
tier 3s.
if I am going to switch Nico Collins out with somebody in tier three, it's gonna be Roman Doomsday. I'm gonna put Nico Collins right there into tier 3.
But see, I dropped
And
Roma Tuesday all the way down to tier 5.
well, the, I was just saying I would take Roman Doomsday out and put Nico Collins in tier 3.
I agree.
Roman Doomsday, yeah, I'm good. Like I said before, I'd put him in tier 5 too, but I put Nico Collins in tier 3, right where Roman Doomsday is. And man, with the Stephon Diggs, though, I can see why they got him in tier 5 due to the fact of, yeah, his age, and also when they restructured his contract after they got him from the Bills, they basically just put it for like he's a 1 year rental deal. That's basically what the deal is. Now, we don't even know if Stephon Diggs does good, if their plans on re-signing him or what, because he is 30. I mean, and sometimes, with certain players that doesn't matter. Stephon Diggs, I mean, some people said that they looked like he lost a step at the end of the year, but I just think it was just how with the teams they were playing and where he's been, where the offensive scheme had to be changed to. Because they actually did run the ball a lot more than what people thought or actually forgot, because they always known for them being the passing team. But they did run the ball a pretty good bit with James Cook and all the other running backs, and even Josh Allen actually ran a lot too. So that contributed to it. So, in all honesty, I would have to put. I know people. This might be a little hot takey, or whatever, but until I see him actually fucking fall down, put him in tier 4. I would. I know everybody loves Tank Dell, but in actuality, you know what? I'm going to switch. I'm going to put Stephon Diggs in tier 4, but also keep Tank Dell in tier 4 as well.
I'm good with that choice. I think that's a good choice.
Because
So
I would put George Pickens in tier 5 due to the fact of I don't really like their quarterback situation. I don't.
so yeah,
That's what.
I would finish
That's
off Steven Diggs with tier. You're saying put him in tier 4, right?
yes.
Yes, I agree with that. Insert him up there right behind JSN and put him at 4, which would make him 27. Um, George Pickens, I agree. He does not need to be in that level. I would drop him out of tier 5. Now, I would put him behind Mike Evans and above Roma Tuesday, which put him in tier 5 category. And then let's just stop and take a break here and look at what we just did. So so you can get a picture of where we're at. So right now we got our tier one: CD Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, St. Brown. Tier two, we got Marvin Harris, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill. And then number three, we got Puka Nuka, Malik Neighbors, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman, and Nico Collins, all in tier three. Tier four, we got DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Jordan Addison, Tank Dell, Dabo Samuel, JSN, Jackson Smith, and Stephon Diggs, all in tier four. So now we're in tier five, looking at what's left in tier five. Now we move George Pickens down to tier five and we put him behind Mike Evans. So you got Rashi Rice, Xavier Worthy, Jaden Reed, Devontae Adams, Lad McConkey, Mike Evans, George Pickens, Brian Thomas Jr., um, Christian Kirk, Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, Cooper Cup, all at tier five. I think I'm good with that in tier five. I don't have any issues with who else remains in tier five. Do you?
They have a lot of
Actually, I do have an
expectations.
issue. Keenan Allen
Okay,
should be up there. I think we're not giving him enough love.
to be honest with you, I think they have Xavier Worthy a little too high for me.
I agree with you. I was sitting here looking at that too. I would drop Xavier Worthy out of the top five, tier five, and put him in tier six and replace him with Keenan Allen.
And you know what? I think I really think Deontay Johnson is underrated, and I
I agree.
really think I really think he should be in tier five.
I agree. So how about we do this? We take Xavier Worthy out. I'm gonna drop him down some, and I am not gonna replace anybody in that spot. I'm gonna put him. In all honesty, I think he should be above uh, Hollywood Brown, and I'm gonna throw him above Hollywood Brown, and then we'll take Keelan out and put him in the tier five group. But I just me, I think he'd be above George Pickens. There's no way he'd be below George Pickens, even with the age.
Oh no, he'll be over George
So
Pickens.
we're gonna put him right above him, and that is gonna change it just a little bit. And I agree with you on Dedont. I was looking at that Johnson's. They really got him underrated, and I would leave him at that position, but I would add him to tier five and take him out of six. Change this rating around here just to see what this looks like now. And that would put him still at 40, or well, that would move him up a spot to 40, but he'd be in a tier five selection. And then everybody else in tier six would be like Chris Godwin, Christian Watson, Calvin Ridley, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Jamison Williams, Xavier Liggett, Cortland Sutton, Mitchell, Antonio Mitchell, Josh Downs. No, Josh Downs is in seven.
Hmm.
Adonai Mitchell, do you think he belongs in a six? I think he does for the Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think I would rather keep him there.
I'm in agreement with that. We're going to
I'm
stop
not-
at six. We won't have to get too deep into this unless you want to go seven. I'm good with that.
No, honestly, if we go any farther, there wouldn't be that many changes, really.
No, I'm also in agreement. So let's do this here. Reposition all this. So Adonai Mitchell, I agree. He should pop out the top 50. Um, Everybody else below, yeah, I'm in agreement. They're where they're at. I mean, there's not much change. I mean, you got I wouldn't really argue any of them. I mean, your tier seven is your tier seven. But yeah, I guess you're right. After that point, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be digging on some gems and stuff.
Yeah, I'd be guessing out the win because I mean, seven's going to be a big category. Eight's going to be a big category, and nine is going to be a big category. So I mean, we changed it around a little bit by our thoughts and where we would rate a player, but overall,
I think it's pretty solid.
yeah, I think some of the underrated players that are out there that I think people should look for is just looking through the list that's below. And these are gems in the darkness that have not yet shown themselves. But I think, and looking at the history, I believe we'll see a rise in Luke McCaffrey, which currently they have him way down here. Because he's a starter. I know he's like wide receiver 3, but still.
Right.
I just seen his name a minute ago and now I missed it. Oh, there he is. He's in tier 8. Okay, that's not too far down. He's not below Cedric Tillman or Odell Beckham. Uh, which I'm surprised Odell Beckham's all the way down there, being on Miami. I mean, I know he's playing with Miami next year. I just have a feeling you're going to see a little bit. I mean, he did well last year where he played at. I think he'll do well this year too, but it's a guessing game. I mean, Tua, he's going to pass to Hill. Hill is this guy. And Odell is just going to be a wide receiver out there playing either slot or a long run, most likely a slot. But I think Hill runs that a lot more than anybody, right? I mean, he's always running the slant.
I think Jaden Waddle will, once Tyreek Hill is gone, or if he just for some reason just starts losing his step or whatever, I think he would start being the number one on that offense. But we also got to see if the Miami Dolphins believe in Tua and are actually gonna pay Tua.
I don't
That's a whole different conversation on its own.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to move on from Tua after this. Tua have not took them to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to I think they're going to make a
Well, I mean,
decision.
I mean, the Jaguars re-signed Trevor Lawrence, and he didn't take them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they re-signed him without no hesitation. There's a hesitation there at Miami right now.
Well, it ain't gonna be because he didn't take him to the Super Bowl. It's gonna be because of the bad play.
It'd be interesting how all that turns out. I mean, but I think I'm happy with my list, and I hope you're happy with it. I think we covered the top 50 wide receivers out there, and in all reality, I just think when you look at the overall sites, some of them are different. And as you're looking at it, you're like, okay, these guys are tier 5s, but reality. And then that's another thing a lot of people don't understand is you have so many different ratings for fantasy. You have your average draft position, which is what that is based on is a statistic on how many times that person's drafted within them rounds. That's where they get that ADP at. Then you have your overall ranking, which does change multiple years. I mean, it's not always the guy number one. Exception being Christian McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson at times when they're not injured tend to rule their domain. But in history, we've seen that that's not always the case. So some of these players have their up and downs, and you do get elite stars like them guys, but they're hard to come by. They're called. Not every player is
Right.
going to be a gem. I mean, there was a time Stephon Diggs was always in the tier 1, or you thought he was a tier 1 guy, and there he is not no more. I mean, it's how it goes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if you guys like the content, hit the like button. We'll post our results on our Twitter feed. You guys could definitely pick up on it and see what you think. We're not always right, but it's what we think. And if you want to use it, hopefully it helps you out. It's just our mindset. What else you always say?
Make sure you share because sharing is caring.
That's right. Sharing is caring. We don't ever want to forget that. So don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. And next week, I think we'll cover a couple other positions. We'll just surprise you when we start. I'm not sure where we're going to go with this, but right now we need to get some of this rankings out there for people to print off their lists and get ready and go to town and see what they can do. And I'm ready. I'm psyched. I've already been in one draft, a couple drafts already, and I'm ready to do some more. So I'm not done yet. So someone, I mean, everybody got like, some people are just anxious to draft, and sometimes it's not good to be anxious to draft. So
That's the reason why I'm doing a couple of best ball drafts to keep me occupied for now.
that's the best thing to do. I got to get in there and start getting some of mine done. All right. Just don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And like Austin said, sharing is caring.